Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us on the Recovery Vow Podcast today. I'm going to dive right into chapter 1. You'll hear my definition of help my spouse is an addict from my book, Marriage After Addiction. And as we go through that, I open up and I talk to Todd and Haley. Now, Todd has a testimony in his recovery, but we really dive into what their young marriage looks like. Haley, who's the most patient person in America, being a mother of 4, and Todd just understanding that he had an issue and that he made a decision to go into treatment in a different way. And after 29 and a half days, they started their life over. So sit back and enjoy this episode. If you aren't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, you can do so at Recovery Vow. You can also go to Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok and follow us there. You can stream on any platform, but just sit back and enjoy this episode. Welcome to the Recovery Vow Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Kennedy. All right, Haley, Todd, I just want to say thank you guys for coming to our Recovery Vow Podcast today. Now, I want to start by just opening the book, Marriage After Addiction, because you guys are, I say fresh in recovery. Todd, you're coming up on a year on Wednesday. So I wanted to share, the book I wrote, Marriage After Addiction, Take Back Your Life Together. If I broke this down, these 13 chapters into sections, this first section would be what I would call your work that goes into, the process of starting. And chapter 1 is Help My Spouse is an Addict. And in that chapter, I explain the difference between process addiction and substance addiction. So for viewers at home, process addiction would be something like porn addiction, gaming addiction, even cell phone addiction. People deal with that, but then your substance addictions are your drugs, alcohol, pills, things like that. But in that chapter, it says, Help My Spouse is an Addict. It helps you understand very practically what he's going through. A lot of times you're forgotten about as a spouse, but now once he and I are in recovery, you guys are in recovery together. So at the end of every chapter, there's questions that you answer as a supporting spouse. There's questions that he would answer as the person in recovery. And then there's questions that you guys would answer together. So I want to go to the end of the chapter. There's 7 questions at the end of chapter 1. And I just wanted to pull one of those questions, and that would help us kind of lead into a conversation. And I'm just going to read the very first one. What addictive behaviors or substances did Todd deal with as your spouse that he was struggling with? And how did they impact your health and the health of your relationship? So if you had to answer that for our viewers and our listeners.
So his addiction was alcohol, specifically beer. And
what was your beer choice, Tom?
Miller Lite.
Okay.
As many as possible.
How many is many? Like in an afternoon?
Oof. I'd probably say tall boys 8 to 12, 14.
Every day?
Probably the last year and a half.
Yeah, whatever was there, it was gone by the end of the night. Yep. I realized that it was more than just a drinking problem. It was more of an addiction whenever I started to notice his demeanor changing. I would tell him, you weren't even the same person. We would joke early on in our marriage. It's like, oh, well, after 5 beers, I'm going to stay away from you, kind of thing, just because he wasn't who I married. And so I think it developed an unhealthy relationship in that, because for one, I didn't want to be around him when he drank. I mean, it started to be like, okay, well, you can do that, but I'm not. And we even talked about last night. I told him, I said, do you remember when it got to the point where I would just say, I'm not drinking at all if I can help, guide you to not drink anymore?
How long? Okay, that's a great point to make. So you drank also, but you were willing to stop just to help him stop?
Yes, because mine was just here and there.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's the difference between social drinker and person with addiction.
Social drinker for sure.
Yes, I could go somewhere and everyone be drinking and me not. I was just as fine being the person to get us home safely than,
so
not going to be
different. We're going to accomplish a mission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How long have you guys been married?
Last 14 years.
Yeah, 14 years in October.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You look really young, like you've only been married like a few years, but you guys have 4 kids.
Yes.
And been married 14 years. How soon into the relationship did you think or know that Todd probably had an issue?
Probably before we
got married.
Yeah, probably before we got married. It wasn't, maybe it was that I was okay with that lifestyle at that point. Not okay with addiction, but okay with the lifestyle living. Okay, well, it doesn't matter if we don't go to bed till 2:00 in the morning, or we're out doing this or out doing that. And then once we started having kids and, being grown-ups, I'd like to say, I started, and also once I came to faith, my life kind of started to change, and that wasn't what my goals were anymore. My goals were, to raise our kids up in situations that, not like that.
Yeah. And when you get past your 20s, it's hard to stay up past 2:00 or function the next day when you stayed up for 2:00.
That's right.
But just tell us as a supporting spouse, what those 14 years looked like, if knowing he had an issue, but what was something that really stuck out that drove you to say, okay, I've got to help my spouse or else?
Honestly, I felt like I helped him, or I was trying to help him for a really long time, years. And you slowly realize that the things that you say they're not helping him, they're pushing him further away. He would see it as, I can't ever do anything right. Nothing's good enough. I'm drinking a beer in my house. What's wrong with that? And I'm like, well, 1 leads to 12. So where I thought that I was helping, leading, guiding, I wasn't. So it took me completely saying, I can't do this. I can't help you. The Lord's got to take a hold of this. So I remember just at church one night, just crying on my knees, just saying, Lord, this is in your hands. I can't do anything else. And it was probably that next day we were at home and we were in the backyard. And so
That was the same day.
It was the same day. Okay, so it was after church. And I just remember the Lord saying, leave him. And I'm like, this is not of God. God would not tell me to leave my husband. And sure enough, yes, he would, because that's what started the change. So I loaded the kids up and we just went to his parents. His parents have been big influences in all of this and in our lives. We just went to his parents, and I didn't tell him at first because it's not uncommon for all of us just to go down there. And it's probably 10:00 and she's like, Haley, it's getting late. You're not going to take the kids home? And I was like, I can't go back. And, she just cried. We all kind of cried. And then I kind of told him what was going on. And then how long after that did you?
It was a couple of weeks at least.
Yeah, it was rough. I think we stayed at his parents for a couple weeks before he kind of made that decision.
All right, get real with us for a minute.
Okay.
Tell me, what got you to that point to make that decision? What was something you remember that was a rock bottom as the wife?
I would look in his eyes and there was nobody there. I mean, there was no love. There was no person. It was an empty soul. It was so weird. I just remember I looked at him and I just said, I don't even know who you are anymore. You are not the person. I'm married. What would you do if our daughter was standing here with you as their spouse? What would you tell her to do? And he said, I'd have told her to leave a long time ago. And I was like,
what do you do for a living?
I'm a nurse.
Okay, because you've got some really good bedside manner. Is this you 24/7?
Yeah.
I feel like she's in that moment. This is the same tone you would have.
Oh yeah, we talked about tone a lot.
Yeah, she pretty much keeps us in line, but everything she's saying is spot on. I mean, it's exactly how it happened. There was no yelling. There was no cussing. There was nothing. It was from the heart. Yeah. So
not for me, at least.
Yeah. That was true.
Well, I mean, I really can. I can tell, it's like you lay it out, and that's why I'm trying to dig, what was rock bottom, what was a hurt moment. But it sounds like you just kind of smiled and said, "Look, bro, we're done for a couple of weeks. We'll be at your mom and dad."
Yeah, I did. I mean, I was very nice about it. I want you to see the kids. I don't want to pull them away from you, but I need to know you're not going to drink when you have them. I just told him, because at this point I can't trust you. And we would always say, like, he's a wonderful father.
Yeah, terrible husband.
I've said the same thing before. Well,
I used a different word, but it was pretty close.
You can say the word.
I'm a great father, but a shitty husband is what I would say.
Yeah.
And the reason I asked you to say, I'm not looking for a bunch of cuss words, so please don't get mad at me. But I mean, people need to see the realness in this. I don't want you guys coming on and feel like this has got to be so scripted. Like, say the word, you know?
Yeah.
Not that I want you to sit there and just cuss back and forth, but people want you to be raw and real, you know? Mm-hmm. That's why I was asking, are you like this all the time? Because you seem just very...
Yeah, if she yells, it's something really bad has happened, but she usually comes across in this tone, and I understand that she can reach me way better this way than she can any other way. So and it's speaking from the heart.
Yeah. And
she cares about it. So
I can tell she cares about you too. She sent me an email a few months back, and you know, you were 251 days out of treatment, and do I have that right?
270?
270?
271?
Yeah, 271. It was a 2 and a 1.
Yeah.
But it was almost a year, and so you're coming up on a year.
Yep. On Wednesday, 2 days from now. That's huge. That's really huge. And for people that are listening, I mean, it getting sober's easy. It's the staying sober that's hard. Mm-hmm. And so every day counts and every day matters. So Todd, when we talk about the perspective from you, what do you feel like if you could talk to another guy that's out there in the same line of work or the same upbringing, you know, what was life like for you? Do you feel like made you want to drink that much? So growing up, we're in church every Sunday, Monday and Wednesday, and we were always there. My dad and my mom were real involved in the church. My dad was a deacon. He's an elder now. I don't know what it was exactly. I think it was put on us like, that's not what we're going to do. And at age 14, I had my first drink. I remember where I was, who I was with. I was hanging out with some older guys, and kind of...
What was your first drink?
A Coors Light. It was disgusting.
Mine was Canadian Hunter with Mountain Dew.
No,
it was three of those in a solo cup. I think
I babied that first one, and I think it was just wanting to fit in. And I remember a guy that he was in our wedding and everything. He goes, "Hey, you don't have to do this." I was like, "No, I want to." Mm-hmm. And I wish I could go back in time. And I said this the other day. Just if I could go back into a moment, that would be the moment.
Yeah,
of just not going to peer pressure and not just trying to fit in.
I dealt with the same thing. There's something about fitting in at that young age where, especially for us guys, it's you want to be viewed as that dude. You know what I mean? So I get it. I relate to it. Did anything happen like when you were younger that you felt like was traumatic that made you think that way?
No, I think I just kind of wanted to go with the flow, and I hung out with older people when I was growing up, and not really many kids my age. I kind of just gravitated towards older kids.
It's so weird.
It's just one of those things where it happened, and it kind of got the ball rolling. It was maybe twice a month when I could get out and do it, but I had strict parents. So when I came home, I was blowing in their face to make sure that there was no alcohol, and I tried to stay the night anywhere I could, and if I did, my dad was there about 7:30, 8 o'clock to pick me up. So
yeah. Just like a small town. You grew up in a small town?
Yeah, we had about 14,000 people. Everybody knew everybody.
Yeah.
So couldn't get away with a lot.
Right.
But I tried.
So, but you found the balance to get through all this, I guess, through high school, college, or whatever. But do you remember any point where you're like, if I keep doing this, I can see where my addictive personality is coming out? Or did you know it? Did you feel like you knew it at 14?
No, I don't think so. I think later. I think college was a big moment of just realizing that. I mean, it was usually Wednesday through Sunday, and it was drink before you went to the bar because you weren't old enough to buy there. Mm-hmm. And then once I became of age, it was kind of downhill from there, and it's kind of been that way. I mean, there's been ups and downs in our marriage and through different phases of life where I'd stop for a little bit and I'd pick up right where I was. And
Did you meet in high school or college?
Yeah.
High school.
In high school. Because you're not old. You look like you're 22.
Oh, no, I'm 34.
34.
He's 36.
Okay.
We met, I was 14 and he was 16 when we started dating.
And dated all through college?
High school, college.
High school, college.
Got married when you were 20.
Yep, I was 20 years old when we got married. Had our first kid at 21.
So, and I mean, that's a lot. I mean, you guys are doing a lot at a young age. You know, you don't hear that a lot. I'm glad to hear that, though. I mean, really, especially in this world today, like people, I don't get it. I just don't understand how people date today and try to mix in, you know, that lifestyle you're talking about at the same time. They're kind of lost, but you guys kind of knew what you were doing.
Kinda.
It was a bumpy road. I mean, I don't know. It was. I knew what I wanted. That's my thing. And there were so many times where people would tell me, I cannot believe that you're staying. I mean, through the different phases of life that we have been through. I can't believe you stay. I can't believe you stay. Why don't you just leave him? And I thought, why do you say, you know, where's the encouraging people? And I did have those, don't get me wrong, but I had a lot of negativity in my ear. And I just thought, like, how would that not make me look? But if I left him when he's at his lowest point, I'm his person. Like, I've got to continue pursuing him, even though, you know, he's far away. I just knew God would bring him back to me, and I just knew that God would restore his heart and his life. That I couldn't give up on him. I mean, that was never an option. Yes, leaving and stepping away, but totally giving up on him was not an option. Giving up on the situation and things that were going on, absolutely. I was done with that. But then I needed God to step in and to change him. I
mean, that's very smart what you just said. And a lot of people get lost in that. They get lost in the enablement versus the support. You know what I mean? And we, you know, we want to throw you on the enablement side, but you stand firm in just supporting and understanding that you have a part to play, and part of that's just kind of loving him through it, no matter what the outcome might be. But
yeah, and it's not always easy. When he was at rehab, one of his counselors called me, and it upset me so bad because he called me, he said, "You're just an enabler." And I was like, no, I'm not. I know that there are people that are enablers in these situations. I'm not. I do not enable them.
Why do you think they said that?
I don't know. They had everybody, or not everybody, but he said everyone, their family members, fill out some sort of questionnaire to figure out what have you enabled in the situation. How do you make them think it's okay for the decisions that they make or something? And I was like, I don't even want to fill that out because I'm not an enabler. And he was like, that's what they all say. I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah. You don't get through with they.
Yeah.
That is not true at all. She's always been one to say, hey, she would speak truth to me, and I would just one ear out the other. Like, I knew what she was saying was true, but I wasn't ready to give up that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because I knew what would happen.
What was, talk to me a little bit about, like, your hardest moment. Like, what was people call it rock bottom. Like, if I would say, you know, your rock bottom that helped you find your moment of clarity. You remember that moment?
Yeah, the exact moment. So for work, we travel and go to conferences every now and then. I went to 3 in 24.
2024.
Yeah, 2024. So I was June, July, first week of August, and it was 5 or 6 days here, 5 or 6 days here. She went with me for one of them, and that was kind of our last hurrah together. And then that next Sunday, so 4 or 5 days later, that's when her and the kids moved out, and I just thought it was keep going as normal. I kind of did my own thing still, just stayed up late, was kind of a bachelor for a little bit, and see the kids every now and then. Kind of thought that that's a lifestyle I wanted, just kind of by myself, and I quickly learned that was not true. A lot of long nights thinking, but still drinking. And was down at a conference and she was blowing my phone up. I wasn't answering. The next morning, she called me when the little one was going to school, which was normal. The 4-year-old. Yeah. We call her the little one, or the little.
The little.
And she called and she said, "I'm not mad. I'm done. If you want to continue that lifestyle, me and the kids will not be here when you get back." And I heard the tone in her voice, kind of like what you were just talking about. And I was like, yep, this is it. Like, I'm going to be a single dad, got 4 kids, kind of a lot of different emotions and thoughts running through my head. But I knew right then if something didn't change, we were going to be done. So that was a Thursday, and then I left for rehab the next Thursday.
Do you and your spouse need real connection on your recovery journey? Are you looking for resources to help you keep your marriage intact? The Recovery Vow Collective exists to support couples in recovery with tools, community, and live monthly support from myself and my team. Join us now at recoveryvow.com/collective. Do you feel like this is, well, it's a hard question to ask. I don't say it's a one and done, but like it takes a lot for people to just, I'm going to do this. Yep. You know what I mean? Some people have to have the intervention or things like that. So she was kind of doing that a little bit in that message, but I mean, for you to grab that and go with it.
So I already had planned. So this is just crazy. It's God's timing.
Sure.
Like I knew that my pastor and I had been meeting quite a bit, and his wife had been talking to Haley quite a bit, and they were trying to fill us with just good thoughts, kind of feeding her with some good things and me with good things. And the day before I left for that conference, I messaged my pastor and I just said, "Hey, we need to talk when I get back." And he had his phone in his hand and he never texted back immediately. And it was wild. He texted me back and he said, "I was just about to text you that we need to meet up." So we already had the meeting set up for Friday. So this would be Thursday after that phone call. And that's kind of when it all happened. And we've met probably 4 or 5 times before that. And what's going to help? I was like, I don't know. And then he asked me that same question that morning. We're at a Starbucks in Longview, and he said, "What's going to help?" And the first word that came to my mouth was rehab. I never thought about it, never mentioned it, never said it. And after I said it, his eyes got huge. And I was like, I can't get that back, can I?
Yeah, he's like, I didn't mean to say that.
Yeah. He said, nope. And then next couple of days, it was trying to find a place to go to. And
was that tough?
The conversation, or just
it was finding somewhere. Like a lot of people, when they reach out to me, they're like, I want it, but I don't have insurance or I can't afford it.
No, it wasn't. It was kind of the first place that somebody in our church recommended. Mm-hmm. Kind of got the ball rolling on Tuesday. I had to talk to my work and talk to some other people, and I call him my sponsor, but he's just kind of a friend who's kind of gone through some of the same stuff before. I met with him too, and just kind of got the ball rolling on different things. And we met that morning, me and my sponsor did, on Tuesday morning, and he goes, "Let's go now." I was like, whoa. Kids are starting school tomorrow. Let me get my affairs in order, and then we'll leave. And then that Thursday morning, packed up and left. So
we did 30 days?
29 and a half, actually.
That's a story.
Yeah. That's a story.
Why 29 and a half?
Yeah, that.
So it was a 45-day program, but when I got there, they changed it like 4 or 5 days before I got there, from 30 to 45. So I had in my mind that I was just going to do 30 and just leave, do my steps, and not blow through them. But I mean, I learned this stuff, and rehab was an interesting experience for me. But
you did all 12 in rehab?
I got to my 12th step the day I was leaving, and they wouldn't let me get out. They wouldn't let me finish it.
Somebody to Christ while in rehab.
Yeah, really. So we'd write back and forth because I didn't use the phone. I didn't call home for 23 days.
We were so upset. We waited on the phone call every single time, and he never called.
Yeah.
Well, wow.
I just think that I would have probably gone backwards. I don't think my mindset right then and there was just focusing on me, and it was kind of a selfish decision at that time. But looking back, I wish I'd have made those phone calls, but I did not think I was strong enough to get through those phone calls. And
was rehab close to home, or
it was around Fort Worth. So it's
a haul, about 3 hours.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
So it wasn't terrible, but it was, I didn't want to get on the phone, and I didn't want to talk around people either in the first 21 days, I think it's the first 21 days is when after 21 days, you can get your phone back, or after certain steps are completed. So I got through the steps, got my phone, called her, talked to the kids. They thought I was in jail. It's still a funny story at the house, but I just wasn't in a good position mentally or physically to call home.
I know that you probably don't, in the moment, that doesn't sound fun, but I can appreciate that a little bit. I think it's important when we decide to make that effort to go to treatment, we have to unplug. Like, I had to go to Florida for treatment, okay? And I didn't get to talk to my two sons at the time. But I was able to disconnect enough to say, okay, I need to hit this life reset button. You know what I mean? I need to pour in to what they're teaching me and telling me, because if I don't do this for at least 21 days, which is the reason I think it's 21 days, we have 21 days of prayer, and it's like where you can form this habit of new thoughts, new ways of doing things. So I can appreciate you doing that. Because when I got to Florida, like I completely disconnected too. Like I did call home on a collect call, but I'd call my parents. And I don't remember calling the boys, which they were 3 and 4. But I can appreciate that.
It was not easy.
Tough.
Yeah.
We wrote back and forth. I wrote the kids letters before I left, just kind of explaining that when Daddy's leaving, when he gets back, I will have a new dad. So I didn't want to talk on the phone because I didn't want them to hear certain emotions come up and then them be worried. So I wanted to get to a spot where I thought I was good. And the phone calls at first with the kids were good. With her, it was not as good, but
Nurse Haley.
Yeah. No, it was,
Haley.
I had that 30-day mark, and I knew it. And she was supposed to come up the day after I left for a family thing, just kind of come in, and I think my counselor up there told the staff that I was planning on leaving at day 30, so they canceled her family trip up there.
Well, let's back up a little bit when you tried to leave at like day 13.
No, I tried to leave at day 2 or 3 or 4. So
there was a day in there where he was trying to leave, and the chaplain called me. I mean, I was getting all these phone calls, and I kind of had to reach out to our pastor. I don't even know who else was involved, but I was like, he's not coming home. Like, no, he has to, until y'all say that he's ready to come home. And I mean, putting the power in their hands, that's not right either. But no, I was like, 2 days hadn't changed anything. You're just homesick kind of thing, which I never got to talk to him, but I typed up, I asked him, I was like, can I just type something up? Go hand him the letter. I wish I could remember what all it said. I'm sure I have it.
Got it.
Okay. I'm like, I'm sure I have it somewhere, but.
Why'd you want to go? Just didn't want to do it.
Honestly, so in my line of work, you deal with a lot of different people. And I thought alcoholism didn't fit into the addiction side of it, because I was seeing people in there who were meth addicts, who were fentanyl addicts. And I was like, I do not fit in with these people.
Yeah, I get it.
And then so I'd see him walking around, because I was in my little own hole for a little bit. See him walking around, and I was like, man, we're nothing alike. And after she sent that letter, I was like, well, I got to stay now. So about day 2 or 3 in the classroom, I looked around, I was like, we were exactly alike. So that was kind of a judgmental moment on my end, just judging a book by its cover, not realizing the surface that the addiction, or I guess this, bringing the addiction to the surface and realizing that it doesn't matter what you look like. I mean, addiction is addiction. And that's what I realized. And I think that's kind of what helped push me through it, and just realizing that addiction comes in all forms and fashions, and to pick and choose.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I remember being in treatment there was a 70-something-year-old woman in there.
Yeah.
You know, and then there was young guys. And what do you remember after you made the decision to stay? What was a moment of clarity in treatment where you're like, after you figured out that all of you guys were the same, can you pinpoint something that just stuck out that says, I'm going to be the one that makes it, or
Step one.
powerless? Or remember what step one is again? Powerless over?
Powerless.
That's
So
right.
because I thought I could beat it. I mean, there was days where she'd be like, you can't even go so many days without drinking. I'd be like, yeah, I can. Watch.
Yeah, watch this. Hold my beer. No,
Pretty much.
just kidding.
And
Pull my tall boy.
yeah.
That was
And I'd do it for a day or two, and I'd be like, I cannot.
Yeah.
I've got to go back. It didn't matter where we were, what we were doing. And once I realized that I was powerless over it, that changed my whole entire mentality.
That's good.
And I kind of started diving into it a lot more and trying to figure out kind of just how we got to that point. And I knew I couldn't stop it. And I knew rehab was probably the only way, kind of like you were talking about, just unplugging. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
I carried 2 phones, one personal, one for work. And when I get home, I bring work home, be on my phone, and I wasn't present. So I was there, but I wasn't fully there.
Yeah.
And not having a phone and just reading books, and that was kind of a big thing, is just getting into a normal habit of not being stuck on your phone, reading, praying, and just kind of I'll just use the word is unplugging, and that actually transformed everything from that point on.
I think we're all guilty of that today. I mean, I wish I could unplug sometimes and just be more present. I mean, we probably are really good at being present now, but everybody can be better, you know. But to have that kind of a stronghold, people don't really understand what addiction is when you talk about going to a treatment facility. But the best way I explain it sometimes, and I've heard this on other podcasts, is, you know, go put your phone on a shelf and don't go touch it for 3 days.
No.
That's, you know, a lot of people, they love their phone and the access they have to the world, when we could just read a book or, you know, just sit and be present with family and things like that.
So kind of back to the 29 and a half days. So
yeah,
she got word I was wanting to leave. And there was phone calls that were made where I said, hey, you can come up here on Friday, but I'm leaving with you. Like, you're coming up for the family day, I'm going home. And she said, I'm not taking you home. And this was probably day 23, 24, somewhere in that area. And on day 28, I made up my mind. I'm like, I'm out. Started like kind of getting my stuff in order. Talked to my counselor on day 29 and just said, I'm out that morning. I think it was like a 9 o'clock session. And then she got the ball rolling. She kind of told staff about it, that I was wanting to leave. Pulled her off the list on the Friday. I got a phone call from my pastor. We talked for probably 45 minutes, and he goes, I can't tell you what to do. You're a big boy. But he kind of heard the change that was in my voice and just the way I was talking. And I don't think I was putting on a show or anything. I think I was just ready to be out, get back home, see the kids, see her, and kind of prove to everybody that I had changed. And so on Wednesday night, she was at the church. And she kind of told me the story. I guess it was the day you picked me up. Because even that day on Thursday, whenever it was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, when the pastor was talking about, hey, she's not coming to get you. Like, there was no way she was coming to get me at all.
And I continued that because I felt, and with him saying, I don't need to be here anymore. I need to be with y'all. I need to show you that I've changed. I need to show the kids, like, I need to be there. And I kept saying, like, you're still thinking that you are the powerful person. I need to do this. I need to do that. You're calling the shots, and that's not how it should be. If they don't think you're ready, like, they do this for a living, which, like I said, putting the power in their hands probably wasn't the best idea either once we put our stories together. So,
you can tell them about the prayer night. Because that kind of transforms.
We'll go, because I'm not sure what you're going to... I'm not sure.
But just go back to treatment for just a second. So they switched it from 30 days to 45 days? Or 20?
So it went from 30 days to 45, and then they had a...
What was the push for the extra 15 days, you think?
Money.
Oh.
And that's what he thinks.
You can say that. Hey, treatment's expensive.
Yeah, very expensive. I don't know exactly what it was. They would tell people, oh, you're not ready to leave yet. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm done with my 12 steps. I've got it. I think I've got it figured out. No, you need to stay. You need to just keep reading and being involved. And they're big on going from just a participant to kind of leading circles. Like, you have a little group that you know your nightly stuff with, and they said, hey, we want you to do this group. And I said, absolutely not. I said, I'm not doing that. well, we're going to make you. I said, well,
They want you to lead the group?
kind of lead your small group. And there was probably 4 or 5 of us in each group. And they had a kind of a leader who was over doing nightly stuff and making sure your boxes were checked for the day, kind of if you're 10-stepping with somebody and all that good stuff. So I was just like, I'm not here for y'all. I'm here for me. I don't want to lead anybody. And looking back on it, it was kind of childish, but that was just me being ready to be done.
Yeah.
Like I was done. But
I mean, I get that. And we're not here when I'm trying to badmouth treatment at all.
Yeah.
But it's expensive. Mm-hmm. And I can see they want you to network and have a community because when you get out, they want you to know that you have that community to turn to.
Yeah. I still stay in contact with a few of the guys, but it's not every day. It's probably once a week or so, just doing a little check-in with everybody. And
that's good. Keep doing that. I think that's important. I went to treatment 15 years ago, and I read where some of them passed away. You know, they talk about that. You know, you become that 10%. You know, and I wanted to be the 10% of people that make it. You know, there's 90% that won't. I knew when I was there that this is expensive. One, I didn't want to die, and I just wanted to be that next level dad.
Yep.
You know.
That was my goal, was to get out and be present for my kids and Haley and just kind of restart life again.
Yeah.
He always says break the generational curse. He uses that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast one day. I can't remember who it was on your podcast, but I can't remember what guest, and it said, "Be the generational breaker, not the generational link." Yeah. And that kind of stuck with me. It was one of those moments where I went, that makes sense. That's why you do what you do.
Yeah. You brought the podcast. You've been listening to this podcast, you said, since he went to treatment?
Yeah, I found you while he was gone and I just kind of caught up on everything because I'm like, what can I do to learn more about this? What can I do to try to, I know I'll never know how he feels or, you know, what he's struggling with or going through, except on my end of it, but I wanted to know more and learn more.
Yeah.
And so
I appreciate that. I mean, I really do. And that's another reason why I wanted you guys to come on is because I wanted our listeners and viewers to see that you got something from the podcast. People often ask, why are you doing a podcast? And it's to give you guys a platform.
Yeah.
To be young couples or older couples, generational, whatever. But people need to see what recovery looks like. Like you guys, you look very well put together. You have a wonderful family. But you're just real people that had that struggle, but it didn't define who you are and all that darkness and whatever that came with that. But you made a decision to do something, you stuck to it, and you're on the other side of it. Now, we said this before we started recording. You still deal with life stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
It's manageable.
It's manageable now.
Well, he's not like on the edge. You know, we used to say we'd walk on eggshells. It's like, what's going to be the tip that, you know, makes him fall over? What is it going to be? And so I couldn't communicate with him this way all the time. A lot of it he didn't want to listen to, or he'd shut me down. So being able to now not have to walk on eggshells, and the kids too, multiple times they'd be like, what's wrong with Daddy? I'm like, I don't know. You just continue being you, you just continue doing your thing and Daddy will work through it.
Nurse Haley.
Because I didn't know. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with him either. I don't know. And so now I tell him, I'm like, take a deep breath,
Yeah, because we still had the same DNA. We just eliminated something that kind of drove our thinking or, our actions.
Yep.
Yeah.
My wife tells me that too. I mean, I wasn't, I met my wife when I was 3 years clean, but she still sees transformative things in me, even to today. Like my temper has changed. Like, I mean, I had a bad temper, but it's just not progressed. It's declined, and it's from maybe getting old. I don't know, but I also blame it on my recovery. Like you just feel better every day, even 15 years into it, even a year into it. You're going to feel
on leaning over you all the time now.
Right.
Like that's kind of how I felt. Like he constantly had that weight on him of the addiction and the alcohol and when's my next drink or how am I going to hide it this time or whatever that is. Now he doesn't. It feels free. I'm speaking for you, but
That's true.
And we never did say, but why did you get out at the 29.5 days?
Oh, okay. I do remember what you were going to say. So, I continued to say, I'm not going to get him. He's making this decision. Well, then I felt convicted in that, thinking, well, how am I any different from him than now I'm the one trying to say, no, I'm not going to get him. So I was trying to be all powerful. So I was sitting there. I was actually at the kitchen table. And I just remember I had my Bible open and I'm like, God, you're really just going to have to slap me in the face with this one, because I'm over here thinking this isn't what he needs to do. He's over here thinking it is what he needs to do. Well, it's not about what we think. It's about what you think. Like, what is it? What can you show me? I know everyone's like, show me a sign,
yeah.
But you got to slap me in the face with this, because I'm real strong on how I feel over here. And he's real strong on how I felt about he's leaving. So, I hadn't talked to him the rest of the day. I guess they took me off. They wouldn't let him call me. So I was just talking from, between our pastor and his wife, and they're talking to Todd. And then I get a phone call, and it was from one of our friends, the best man in our wedding. And he said, Todd's out. And I said, what? What do you mean Todd's out? And he hadn't even called me yet, because he was probably scared what I was going to say.
Oh, I was trying to get a ride.
That's why I asked how far away this place was. People don't understand that you have to get as far away from home as possible.
Yeah, well, they packed his bag up, and they drove him, and they dropped him off at a Greyhound bus station.
In downtown Fort Worth.
Right beside a bar.
Yeah. So my buddy, I told him, I said, hey, this is where I'm going. I need you to find me a spot. I've got to be here for at least 3 hours till somebody come get me. So he sends me this hotel, and I walk in, and it's got a massive bar area, huge bar area. I mean, it's twice this size in here. And I'm walking in, I got my rolling suitcase in my box. I just kind of look up. I look up to the sky and I said, you've got a sense of humor. Because, this is the first place I go. And he calls me probably 20 minutes later. He said, get out. There's a massive bar. I said, it's fine. I walked right through it. I'm sitting over here. I'm trying to find a way home. And I get a call from my pastor, and he goes, she's on the way up there. I was like, oh, this is not going to be good.
I was like, if anybody's going to get him, it's going to be me, because this is my slap in the face. He dropped off at a Greyhound station. Yeah. I just couldn't believe it. So, that's what I said too. I was like, okay, I asked for a slap in the face, and here it is. He
said, I don't know what changed over the last 3 hours, but she is packed up and she's on the way. And I was like, thank goodness.
What was it like when you saw him?
I was kind of scared. I didn't really know what to think, but for the first time in years, probably since we started dating, there was life in his eyes.
That's good.
Yeah, it was so amazing, because, I told you I'd look into him, and it was almost like an empty soul. And then I pulled up to this hotel, and I thought, oh my goodness. And I got him, and he was more alive than I've ever seen him.
But ready to go home.
Ready to go home. We FaceTimed the kids, and they're like, Dad. They were so excited to see him.
That's fantastic.
The transformation back home was a challenge in itself.
Yeah.
The
ride home was a challenge in itself.
So how long was the ride, and what did you guys talk about?
It was 3 hours, and we stopped halfway, I think, and got pizza, and we talked out there for a while. But it was just a lot of, were you telling the truth here? Were you telling the truth here? Like, how many drinks was it? And she just wanted to know how bad it was, because she had heard. But I think she wanted to hear it out of my mouth and just say, okay, and just kind of get everything out on the table.
Because once you do that, then I can heal. Yeah. If I'm constantly thinking, was he telling the truth about this, or he lied about this, or was he lying about that? That continues the cycle in my head. And now, we don't hardly talk about it unless it's, in a good way. It's not, there's no hard feelings. Like, I'm so proud of his accomplishment and where he is today. I could never imagine going back and holding any of that against him. A lot of people ask, are you not scared that he's going to relapse? And I'm like, I don't fear the relapse. I fear the old Todd demeanor, anger, hatred coming back. That's what I fear, not a relapse. Because, and I don't know how to explain that, but that's never
been my fear. That makes sense to me. I mean, people that are listening, they may not understand that, but it's, you love the same guy. You just don't love the old personality. Yeah. And personalities can change, but the guy can't.
Right.
So, all right. So before we like really land the plane, I want to hear from both of you on these last 363 days. What was the best moment outside of coming home? What's been the best moment in your marriage and in your with your family that you can define from your point of view? Todd, go first.
I know you said not coming home, but I think that was a big thing. Seeing my kids for the first time, getting the hugs and just the tears. I think we're more open about things. It's not, we have a better line of communication between each other. If things come up, we try to address them right then and there and not hold a grudge for a couple of days, and because that could just snowball and get worse. So
10th stepping.
It's easier. It's easier now. I mean, they were talking about 10 step, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm never going to use that. And I use it on a day-to-day
all the time.
So,
and just for people that are listening to 10th, when we say 10 steps, for people that do decide to go through a 12-step program, it's where we quickly admit our wrongs, especially as quickly as we can, to those we hurt.
Yeah. I think just the marriage that I don't want to say I wasted for 13 years, but it's gotten a whole lot better.
Yeah.
And I think it has to do with just being vulnerable and just being a team on that end, especially raising the kids, and our work schedules get a little hectic out every now and then, but we prioritize church on Sundays, Wednesday nights, and then I volunteer at the prison ministry at a prison in East Texas with the church. So getting in there with guys that I probably could have put in there, and seeing life change in them and actually praying for them and just being around people who have the same kind of addictive behavior that I have, and just seeing that they are people just like I am, and I could have easily been in their shoes in that seat. Kind of humbles you a little bit when you go in there and you pray for those guys and you see them weeping and you see them get baptized by, what did we have, 48 get baptized that one Sunday. It's just the life change that you never expected to see. But once you actually get out of the addiction process, it's a whole lot easier to be happy with little things in life. I think that's a big thing.
And you're right. You could have easily been in that.
Absolutely.
I worked at a jail for a short period of time. I really didn't like it. And then I spent some time in that same jail, and I had to go in protective custody. Not because I was some big time cop or something. I wasn't. I was a, what you call it, OC or whatever, or CO. Yeah. And, but I got locked up for DUI at the same jail where I worked at.
Yeah. It could have easily happened, and by the grace of God, it didn't, because there's no telling what would happen during those times. I mean, it was pretty rough for a while, but the last 363 has been amazing. I mean, like we talked about earlier, we've had 2 kids get baptized.
That was going to be my answer.
Yeah. And I actually texted my pastor yesterday, and I said, actually surrendering everything over to God and actually going to rehab, getting my help. If I would have known that life on the other side would have looked like this, I'd have done it 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. You don't know.
You don't know, but it's kind of made, we actually have, I guess you could say, street cred when it comes to talking about marriage and addiction. And it kind of gives us, I mean, kind of like your platform, you actually use your addiction for good. And ours, I think, is getting that way, because I think this is going to get out to a lot more people than we kind of thought it was going to go into. And I think just being open and honest and just being real with people is gonna help.
Yeah, that's a perfect answer, and you guys will. I mean, God, that's the reason you went through that, Todd, is because you're going to have this testimony now where you will use that story that you've told here, and you'll redefine it. You'll shrink it, lengthen it, whatever. But people need to hear it.
Yep.
There's going to be guys at your age that are living the same kind of life, maybe a different amount of kids and a different wife that doesn't have the nurse bedside personality that she gave him an ultimatum long ago, you know. So, Haley, what was you going to say? Baptism, I guess. Is there anything else?
Well, that really the baptism
powerful
story, I guess, that I told you before we started. That's kind of to know that we were living this lifestyle that was, I mean, crumbling under our feet, basically.
Yeah.
Barely keep our heads afloat, but yet in this, you know, almost a year, two of our children have been baptized. So we are somewhat, you know, we're beginning to live our life right now. I feel like we're definitely putting God first, and our kids see that. The kids see the transformation, and you know, when they say, "Look at what Daddy's done," I'm like, "Look what God did through Daddy," because it's not him, it's not me. We could have never done that on our own.
Yeah,
you know, it's God. So I tried to show them that in everything, and praying with them. Of course, that's a huge thing, but just to know that, you know what, 1 week out of rehab, you baptized our daughter. And then today's Monday?
Monday.
Yes, just yesterday I baptized our son. So.
That's amazing.
Yep.
I'm gonna throw you one curveball since he kind of answered your answer for you.
Yeah.
If you were going to look at the camera and talk to a supporting spouse, specifically in this situation, females, what would be a word of encouragement that you would give them? Because some people get lost in like we said, the enablement and the support. What bit of encouragement would you give someone?
I would say remember the person that you married, because during all the struggles and everything, I just kept going back to this is not the man that God designed for me. You know, the enemy has taken hold of his life, and we've got to get him back. So I would really just say remember who you married and the heart of the person that you married, because he's still there somewhere.
Yeah, that's good. You're so patient.
Oh, well, I'm not always.
Yeah.
Not always.
Well, I do want to say I'm so proud of both of you. I know this is our first time meeting, but we've talked through email. And I read through your story again this morning before we got here, but I am very proud of both of you, especially you, Todd, for doing what you've done. And
thank you.
Reshaping your family. And you have become a generational breaker. So yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast and hanging out with us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.